Hello and welcome to another Full Item Rando match. I'm Snowbear and joined with me is Kilda.
G'day.
So this is going to be an exciting match. We got Mountebank, the runner-up to our most recent Cinco Bingo tournament, going up against Roushmore. So this will be a very good match indeed. So our runners are getting ready and they should be going shortly. I am very excited about this match actually. All these matches in the round of 16 have been really intense. So we've had 2 so far, the round of 60. We've even had amazing rounds of 32 matches. So this is bound to be just as good as the other ones. Right, Articuno will start. Potentially ominous. The average match time still kind of varies. I think between 2.5 hours, around 2.5 hours is still our match average. It's really hard to say with Item Rando since the seeds can vary between low 2-hour seeds to close to 3 hours. We
have Waterfall on the first check of the game for both runners.
Yeah, so that's at least something good to see. If you need a special move, it's a very good special move to teach for a temporary main. And we have a Zapdos.
One of the starters is a Zapdos, which
not even
Mounty
gonna
has
check
taken without checking. Both of them taking it without checking the third one. This is an interesting strat because the third Pokemon, the one they didn't look at, is the one that their rival will receive. And if they've accidentally given their rival a Mewtwo, they're going to feel quite foolish.
Honestly, I don't think you would take a Mewtwo with this. I would be happy enough with the Zapdos. You don't need to get greedy and check the third one. So it's soft.
But would you take a Zapdos even if you knew it was giving your rival a Mewtwo?
Yes. Especially if it was giving the rival the Mewtwo.
And it looks like the Zapdos has Psychic as well.
Indeed. And Roush is immediately teaching Waterfall.
Now, the one downside to Waterfall is that you are not going to be able to replace that move until you visit Blackthorn and the move deleter. HM moves cannot be taught over or deleted the way that regular moves can. So if you find Surf a couple minutes later, you might regret having just taught Waterfall there. But otherwise, it's a very solid move.
Waterfall is always very solid. You don't have to worry about not teaching it. Honestly, it's still 80 base power, which is one of the stronger moves. It's just like Strength. It's not Surf, but it's sufficient for most parts of the game. And so I definitely liked how our runners both taught at least Wing Attack, and I didn't see if Monty did that as well, but I wouldn't push it past him.
I don't think Monty did any teaching yet.
No, he didn't. But he does. It's okay. I do like Roush committing straight for it, though. It's very respectable, and hopefully you don't find that early pass, so you can keep it for the long haul.
Yes, I always find if the game gives me a really, really good starter like a Mewtwo early in the run, it then goes out of its way to force me to main switch to something else. It's like, oh, here's every part of the Pokegear. Here's the pass. It's like, here's the Silverwing. Like, go and get a different Pokemon. And I'm like, no, I have a Mewtwo.
Well, I would rather not run Mewtwo. Mewtwo's gross.
Yes, but we'll just point out for anyone who's unfamiliar with the game, Mewtwo has the best stats of any Pokemon in the game. It has the highest special attack and also a very good physical attack stat. It is objectively a very strong Pokemon. Some runners don't like to use it because they prefer to meme, but Mewtwo is a very good Pokemon.
It's not just meme, it's standards. Mewtwo is the best Pokemon and honestly, you don't turn it down if you're given an option to run it. Especially
I'm certainly not proficient enough. I'm certainly not proficient enough at this game to try running to just pass on a Mewtwo when I get one.
Yeah. So Monty actually just only opts to teach the Wing Attack compared to the waterfall as well for Roche. But that's all very good, yeah. So this is still very, very important for both of them, and
this Boba Fett appears to have Zap Cannon and Spark.
Yeah. But as Kilda was talking about, you generally will take Mewtwo. I just out of principle don't like it, but Garf will remind me that I did run it in the tournament, and you know, there's been a few more since, but it's it's top tier. You're able to do pretty much anything, and it doesn't matter how low level your Mewtwo is. It's good enough for everything. Oh, I'm still not saying his name right. I thought it was. Oh, is it Roush? I apologize. Thank you, Garf, for reminding me. I keep saying it wrong every single time. Eventually, I'll get it right. Yes, it's Roush. I apologize. He's mentioned it to me, and I always forget. So, thank you
Roush
for calling that
not
out.
doing the check in the Dark Cave that Mountebank is doing right now. Okay, Mountie finds a rare candy. I think it's safe to say Roush will find that rare candy at some point later on. But interesting to skip that check. Most runners just take it. Even though it's not in logic, it's very quick and easy to do that small bit of navigation in the dark.
It's more a matter of personal preference, whether people want to do that. There's lots of times where it's been an important progress item and getting it early is nice. But most other times it's generally a waste of time. Having his piece of candy, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a waste of time, but it's not necessarily something you need to worry about.
It's good to get a rare candy early so you know that you won't miss out on any. If a trainer tries to give you a rare candy and your bag is full and you don't have any, you can miss out on it completely.
Yes.
But it's not the biggest deal. Interesting, Roushmore has gone straight into Faulkner's gym. As opposed to, for example, doing the escape rope chamber in the Ruins of Alph or the Sprout Tower, which are the two other things that you can do at the beginning of the run.
Our stars were something, Zapdos, and we have no idea what the third one is. It's really just...
I'm just going to assume that it's a Mewtwo until the game shows me otherwise.
Yeah, so Monty's been actually defeating a lot of wilds. So, he's a little bit higher level, but it kind of shows the little early experience levels definitely makes a difference. As Garf pointed out that, yes, he was speed tied with the Kingler.
And it looks like Mountie has not given himself a name at all. So there's just a blank gap.
It's a blank space. That's his trademark. I wouldn't say it's a sort of satire game. I think it's more just kind of an early game tease, but you're either hoping for progress or something to sell for money, which it was neither. But you don't say no to a rare candy. But yeah, this is a little bit interesting routing even from the start, where Mountebank has opted to go to the Ruins of Alph chamber. I generally like this play because you never know how many times there's been Squirt Bottle there, and so you just switch to level 20. Whereas Roush has opted to go to the gym first, and is dispatching it quickly.
Yes, I think Escape Rope Room is a really good place to start because there's so many useful things that you might find there. There's 4 different checks that can be done so quickly. You could find a really useful TM, you could find a Surf HM or a Strength HM, you can find the Squirt Bottle, you can find a badge, or any number of items that you can sell to set you up for the early game with the repels and escape ropes and things that you need.
So it's an interesting kind of thing. When you go for the gym first, it's a little bit of a tougher fight through, but it makes the rest of the tower much more of a breeze. Whereas if you opt for the tower first, well, the Elder is going to be a challenge, the gym's going to be simple to do.
Yeah, the Elder is normally not too much of a challenge, but he can occasionally wall you if he has just the right Pokemon and moveset to do it. But I think Faulkner is more likely to be a challenge if you haven't done Sprout than the other way around.
Right, I mean, but the same thing, you have to remember that the Elder is actually stronger than Faulkner. Elder has 2 level 7s and a level 10, whereas Faulkner only has a level 7 and a level 9. That level 10 is actually more often than not the troublemaker, if anything, because you're only around level 10 at that point. But there's really no, as we said, there's really no wrong way to approach this. Yes, as Atro pointed out, you are more likely to get you get to train on easy things before the Elder, as opposed to the level 9 start for the gym, which is actually one of the more brutal checks of the game, where it's like, is your main good? Or are you lucky? No TMs that Mountebank is actually fond of. He did briefly check it. I saw a Stomp TM, and I didn't see what the other one was. Well, I wouldn't say it's necessary. I mean, just because you're starting with an HM doesn't mean it's going to be lots of progress. But I do understand how it is as sort of a teaser. I think a lot of times our runners might even prefer the getting parceled out their HMs and key items so that they can kind of plan their route accordingly. Things get a little bit crazy when all of them appear all at once.
Of course, what you're generally hoping for is that some of the HMs are in Mount Silver and completely unrequired.
Oh yes, of course. That would be best case scenario. Yeah, so Roush is completing most of these checks quite easily, although this Snorlax with Ice Punch is still somewhat of an issue. And Icy Wind. Oof.
Oh, it has Icy Wind and Ice Punch.
It is unfortunate though, the speed reduction, but luckily it's only Snorlax, so you're still going first. It is interesting to use the soft boil strats. It's obviously playing is very safe and it's very good. I do believe Roush would have perhaps had a slightly easier time using Wing Attack against the Snorlax, considering it's got a very, very high special defense compared to its regular defense.
And Roush's Zapdos just learned Sacred Fire on level up.
Yes. This Zapdos is doing really good. I do like him equipping the Mystic Water. It goes really well with the Waterfall HM on. But yes. And thank you again for pointing out the Supersonic TM. That is sort of how it goes, Priorium. That when you choose a Pokemon, the AI will find ways to make your life miserable by throwing as many super effective attacks against you as possible.
That's another reason why normal types can be quite good mains, because they're not magnets for most of the super effective moves, other than fighting type moves, which don't tend to cause status inflictions.
Yes, however, fighting type moves are usually, although they miss a lot, they usually are high base power damage and can cause quite a bit of trouble.
Yeah, Roush is just doing the escape route here, the escape route now, after doing the other things. There's never really a question of runners skipping any of these early game checks, it's just a matter of the order they choose to do them in. Both runners pretty much even here, wrapping up all those 3 different areas at the same time. Roush with a slight advantage heading down into Route 32 first, but
yeah,
nothing really between them at this point.
That is correct. So we get a bunch more TMs early on. That's always good, because then you can always just set up to build your main. Although I think Roush's moveset is mostly set at this point, considering he's got that Waterfall HM locking up a precious move slot. But it's not a bad issue to have, considering it's Waterfall and it's one of the better moves to have in a move slot.
Oh, Roush hitting the spinner in the Union Cave. That is unfortunate.
Yeah, it's rather unfortunate. That spinner is actually very hard to avoid. You actually have to pause for a frame or two to let him turn. There's really no avoiding doing that. No matter what path you do, you still have to wait. Monty is actually going to opt to pick up that elixir. PP items, while they are plenty, they are always welcome to have.
Yeah, runners like to have items to restore PP and health so that they don't have to go into Pokemon Centers very often.
Atro, that is a good point, Atro, about Waterfall being more likely to make Surf appear. You know, back in the day, it was a lot easier with key items just to say, yeah, if you get Waterfall, Surf is soon to follow. I'm not sure about Item Rando. It's kind of harder to predict. I would tend to say you are correct that it more likely is going to make it appear sooner, but it's really hard to tell.
Yeah, seeing Waterfall turn up does imply that it's required for progression. Seeing it turn up that early, and all the Waterfall lock checks are by definition also Surf locked checks.
So Monty is actually going to the shop second, so that actually saves a few steps for those who are wondering. I know it's really easy just to kind of autopilot to the shop first. And I still do that a lot of times, but it saves a few steps. Since the store is a little bit higher up than Kurtzhausen.
Of course, the main concern with that shop is the old man wandering around in front of it. Whether you get a clean path in or you have to go around him. I find that I constantly bonk on the old man when I'm trying to get into the shop.
And the old man can be rather rude with that.
Both runners basically neck and neck now, fighting the same trainer, seconds apart.
Yeah. Rush is a little bit ahead, partly from not doing the rare candy check early on, or it's the cave check, but also minimizing his shopping times, as well as kind of more fluently choosing a route of options, where he chose to check the escape room chamber last, where it was on the route. It's only a small minor differences, and honestly, it's totally up to runner's preference of how to do these. I mean, as we mentioned, I like to check the escape room first.
Another thing Roush did when they went to the mart in Cherry Grove, they actually sold an item they had picked up for extra cash, so they were able to buy more. So that's meant they haven't needed to go to the shop here in Azalea yet.
Mountebank getting an unfortunate burn, but it shouldn't make much of a difference as he's about to get healed right after this level 14.
Yes, of course, the impact of a burn, apart from taking the chip damage every turn, is that it halves your physical attack stat. Something the game never tells you, and that makes no intuitive sense, but is just a mechanic that Pokemon players are familiar with. One of the reasons why you sometimes prefer to run a special Pokemon over a physical one is that a special Pokemon doesn't care if it gets burned, because it's using its special attack.
bunch of interesting little notes about that. Yeah, it looks like both of our runners are gonna be... Actually, excuse me. Roush is going to check the rival and get those quick checks in to Alex Forest, whereas Mountebank is immediately starting the gym. They're all gonna be different kind of things. I have started to find a like, oh, that would be an unlucky freeze, except for the fact that Sacred Fire does thankfully thaw you out. And that was a very much needed crit against this Slowbro, which seems to be the third starter that we didn't see. No, it wasn't Slowbro. It was a Sentret, third choice.
Okay. So yeah, Zapdos was definitely the right pick there. I still think it's better to look at it before you pick the Zapdos, but both runners took the Zapdos without checking what the third slot was. It seems like it was a Sentret, so that's fine.
I think if you find something you're very much happy with starting with, I actually don't think it's a problem just to pick that right away. I mean, it would be good to check as well, but you never know. And I guess Roush took an unfortunate wipe to Rival 2. That... I guess not enough healing items to deal with that Sentret, so unfortunately that was it.
Yes, I always hit the Pokemon Center in Azalea when I first get there, just in case you don't want to walk back to before Union Cave.
Yeah, Sentret with extreme speed, or any priority moves can really troll you. You have to be careful about that. Yeah, but I do agree with taking the center in Azalea. It is generally wise to do that. And we do have the Fog Badge, and from Bugsy. So Azalea skip, obviously, not something you want to be doing. And Roush opts to go back to the gym after this, and I think that's totally respectable.
And of course, Fog Badge is the badge that allows you to use Surf in the overworld, so further implication that we will find the Surf HM soon, but we could be wrong about that.
Yeah. So Monte really stocked up on repels. He has 31 repels, and I like that, just because you don't know when you're next going to go shopping. And that covers not only the early game, but it'll cover any long treks you need to do, so hold off on needing to beeline to Olivine, for example. And they've had so much money this ROM, so it's no problem to spend that much early on. Alright, so nothing yet from there. We do have the Fog Badge, of course, from Roush. And we'll see what the charcoal item is as well. I believe Monty generally resets for this. Yeah, I definitely like that. You know, it's if you're not gonna go in there first, having a save reset is very good, and it'll save you the rest of your repel.
Yeah, it's one of the very useful strategies that runners will use in this game is save scumming. So saving somewhere, then doing a check. If the check is no good, you just load the save and you can walk back to where you were. Yes, a real lack of key items early in the game. We haven't visited anywhere yet that we can call absolutely stacked.
Not yet. It'll come soon. But right now, we're just kind of holding off on the progress. Yeah, so wing attack, I suppose that was a wing attack TM we got, so that's very good.
And Mounty buying a water stone here. This is required for entering one of the hidden chambers in the ruins above. Even though
Oh,
it
an
seems
attack
quite
that lowers
random.
an attack that lowers the attack is also very good. That is Aurora Beam, and then an attack that hurts the user. I believe that is either. I think that's submission. If I looking
Could
at
it
it
be
correctly.
double edge?
That would be a tackle that also hurts the user. We'll have to take a look when Monty gets a chance with his TMs. But definitely an Aurora Beam TM is very much welcome. And there's the Surf that everyone's been waiting for. So, Monty is rewarded for holding off on teaching Surf to his Zapdos. But it also opens up a bunch of extra checks now, too. There was submission.
So yes, Mounty will have the option of backtracking through Southern Johto here and doing a bunch of additional checks. We'll see
And
if
that's
he
a Drill
goes
Peck
up.
TM.
Oh, Drill Peck is an amazing TM, especially for a flying type.
Wow. Yeah, so this is definitely pretty intense. So we have possibilities for Drill Peck, Surf, Aurora Beam. We do have Clear Bill on the bike shop, so our runners are going to be taking that lovely phone call.
Yeah, the reason we often save scum checks for the bike shop is both to walk back to the center of Goldenrod quickly, but also to avoid getting a phone call from the bike shop guy. However, if he gives us something we require, then you can't actually do the save scum and you have to just take the phone call.
Roush making some room for a rare candy. We'll definitely much appreciate that. And we have 2 Ultra Balls from the radio tower.
Reminds me of the time I went to Mr. Pokemon at the beginning of the run and he gave me a PP up, and then Professor Oak spoke to me and gave me another PP up, and then later in the game I went back to Mr. Pokemon with the red scale, handed it in, and he gave me another PP up.
That sounds quite amusing. I'm actually hoping that all the radio tower checks are going to be Ultra Balls now.
Yes, Goldenrod has a very large number of checks that you can do, so it's one of the densest areas that runners like to get there as early as possible. It's why runners will sometimes skip Bugsy and Azalea and go straight through to Goldenrod to just do all the checks there. But if you don't have Fly, I think it's better to just do Azalea on the first visit.
Yeah. So Monty's been a little bit more prudent about holding off on teaching most of the TMs, and I do like that because you never know if this is going to be your main. But at the same time, you definitely want to have moves that are good enough to get you through the early game until you figure out what your progression is. And we do see Roush picking up the X items. I do like that early X item buy. It saves you time doing it now compared to having to do it right before red. And it can help you out in a pinch against some of those tougher fights.
Yeah, you also want to make sure that you've just got room in your bag for all those items early. And that way, anytime you run into additional X items, you'll pick them up later in the run.
So Monty just starting off the gym fight. I might be banking on getting maybe a squirt bottle soon from this. And that's why he's going to save doing Route 35 and the National Park for a little bit later. And plus, your Zapdos is more than good enough to deal with anything Whitney can throw at you. Yeah, so Whitney, a little bit trolly, but that's why you get X accuracies. I do like that Monty also did the X item shopping it. I just didn't catch it at that moment. But buying 3 X accuracies is a good idea. A lot of people will just buy 1 or 2 for red, but generally you want to be able to use it for kind of any tricky fight that you just don't want to go through. And oh, unfortunately, Roush does hit that camper. To avoid hitting him, you have to take a single step to the right to kind of unload him and then reload him. He is a very tricky one to fight and always understandable when optional to fight.
Yeah, you see Mounty there do that little side step to the right to avoid hitting that spinner. Makes his way directly into the grass. Now, I like to save scum this particular check, because if the item there is nothing, then I save a repel, because I get the repel back.
I'm just more willing to take it. It's a very quick check. And so we do have our runners simultaneously fighting this bug catcher.
Yes, they have synced up perfectly, which is quite impressive.
Yeah, so taking that optional, or
the difference is that Roushmore hasn't done Whitney's gym.
Right.
That's how he's caught up.
I mean, sometimes you have to be more prudent with your checks, and which ones you're willing to do and which ones you're willing to skip. We do see Monty saving in the gatehouse versus Roush saving right outside, and both of them are very good places to save. I would be a little bit nervous saving where Roush does, because you have to make sure to push down while they're looking away. Fresh, because you don't want to hit either of them, especially not the one on the right where it's Juggler Irwin with 4 Pokemon, whereas the Fire Breather only has 2. But it looks like the contest has nothing, and just doing a double check on the TM that they got, nothing they want to keep, and so they're going to both save reset. So it looks like our progress is going to be surf locked. I would not be surprised if Monty would opt to do Soft Sand Girls early, but I think the Zapdos is a little bit low level to do that safely, so you might just see him skip it from now.
Yeah, he'll definitely grab this item here, and it's not required. And yes, you're right, he does have Drill Peck TM, we did observe that earlier. He hasn't taught it to the Zapdos yet. The fact is, if he finds the pass, then he can instantly go over to Kanto and immediately get something in the mid-30s, mid to high 30s. So he's not 100% committing to this Zapdos yet, just because it's quite low level.
Yeah.
If he does commit to it, I'm sure he would teach it Drill Peck, because that's just about the perfect move for it to have, apart from Thunderbolt.
Yeah, exactly, as you said. We do have one, besides these 2 checks and Soft Sand Girls, we have the Kenya request return and the turning in and returning. So those are 2 items that we can do. Meanwhile, Roush is challenging the gym.
There's also a couple of surf-locked items in Violet City. There's a surf-locked item in Cherry Grove City, and there's a couple of items in Tojo Falls that you can get.
Yes, that's exactly right. And depending on what items we get, we may find more. So Monty is gonna take the little extra time here to get 1 extra level on the Zapdos. You should be able to repel throughout most of the Pokemon going there. right now that basement is up to about level 22, 23, and most of the waters, besides Route 27, have Pokemon that are at highest level is 20 plus up to 4 levels. So it's been a little bit interesting where Mountebank's been a little bit more thorough with the checks in the early game. Roush has been a lot more cherry picking, and you know, they are both valid responses, and you know, sometimes, especially in the early game, you want to be very thorough with checking everything to make sure you're not skipping, for example, fly or your progress item.
And there's the squirt bottle, surf locked in Violet. So let's see what Mounty does now that he's found that.
Right.
He's going to check the other surf locked item here. This makes sense since he's already here. It's a full restore. Let's also see if Roushmore attempts the Soft Sand Girls.
I doubt it. I think he's just gonna check that item and then... Oh, no. Looks like he is gonna challenge the Soft Sand Girls. Mountebank is very famously one of those who will hold up back on Soft Sand Girls for as long as he can. You know, advocating...
Mountebank got HMO2 by handing in the Kenya.
Yes.
So he can teach Fly to his Zapdos now if he wants to. There's no reason to, especially with Drill Peck as a better attacking option. But he'll also be able to fly as soon as he finds the Storm Badge, wherever that may be.
Right. And so we do have some locations. If you've tuned in for the last broadcast, you understand there are some stipulations about where the Storm Badge can be. It's not going to be beyond the waterfall in Tojo Falls. It's not going to be behind the Snorlax. And it's not going to be beyond any passage of the boat. And it's not going to be beyond Blackthorn. And it's not... So, there's kind of some small stipulations about where they can be. So, Monty is just opting to do the Mystic Water check and then dipping out. Not going to go do the entire trek back to Tojo Falls and Route 37 yet. Does opt to do the Squirt Bottle check, which will put Rock Smash checks in logic for him. It means that we get to also continue using the Zapdos a little bit longer, which is, I think, much appreciated from both runners.
Yes, Mounty's just taking a small risk, because if the Storm Badge does happen to be in Tojo Falls, not going down there and checking it now would be a mistake. But since he has access to all of North Johto, it's much more likely to be somewhere up there.
And it looks like Roush is having a little bit of a hard time with this Venusaur on the third trainer. Yeah, and you can see sort of what happens with going in there very low level. Mountebank also having to dump an item to get the Rock Smash guy's item. In order to be able to buy Rock Smash TM from the mart, you must receive his item into your bag. And so, as he's going back to do the return quest for Kenya, he can also buy that Rock Smash TM. Oh, it was the second girl. I apologize. I thought it was the third one.
The one good thing with Soft Sand Girls is you get a gap between the second and third fight where you can heal and save and so on.
Yes. Yeah, the third
Unlike
fighting starts with 26 and then goes into a 28.
Unlike fighting the Elders on the way to Tin Tower, for example, where all three fights are chained together and you don't get any breathing space between them.
Yeah, and it looks like it's going to be really rough as the Octillery has Ancient Power.
Yes, Zapdos being 4 times weak to rock moves is not what you want to see Ancient Power on anything.
It's only 2 times weak. It's only times 2, it's not times 4. You're thinking Moltres. Electricity.
Oh yeah, I I always forget, Zapdos is the one of the 3 legendary birds that is not 4 times weak to rock. Because Articuno was also 4 times weak to rock.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this is sort of the unfortunate part about Soft Sand Girls early on, is that you can be walled on any one of the 3, and so they are rather tricky early on to fight.
So Roushmore's abandoned that fight without actually finishing it?
Correct.
Okay,
I mean,
so we don't know if it's a
sure,
required fight yet.
I'm sure he'll go back at a later point in time. And so I do like this play from Mountebank, and part of the reason why he avoided doing the Toja Falls check early on is because he knew he was going to get Rock Smash, and so he's going to be coupling the Dark Cave checks out of logic with those 2 checks, as well as the Route 46 item. So, for those who are sort of getting new or starting into it, the Randomizer will not force you to go into the dark places without being able to use Flash. That doesn't mean
nothing here is in logic.
Yeah, that doesn't mean it'll stop our runners, though, who have at this point much needed practice and experience dealing with any and all darkroom checks. And it looks like one of our Rock Smash encounters is this Ariados.
Yeah, it can be annoying where even if you have a repel up, as we find the SS ticket there in the dark. Now that's an interesting thing, because it does give us Kanto, but that Kanto access is not in logic.
And looks like another piece of candy here, in the dark cave. So, very lucrative candy spot. And we have the Pokegear here, so Monte did save in the cave in case this item on Route 46 was nothing. But he is going to have to take it. And so I think with that, you're going to have to fight Rival 1 regardless. So, might as well check Route 27 in Toja Falls anyways.
So yes, it looks like Dark Cave was absolutely stacked. And for anyone who doesn't know, the Pokegear, the radio card, and the expansion card are all 100% required items in every run. You need them to be able to wake the Snorlax, which is necessary for getting access to West Johto, or West Kanto rather. And West Kanto is where you have to go to talk to Professor Oak in order to gain access to Mount Silver.
I actually don't think Monty is in a huge rush to go to Kanto just yet. I mean, you have a very good Zapdos, and honestly, it's still not in logic to go to Kanto, and so I don't think it's going to be super rewarding. Even though you can get up to level 39, I think it's much safer with this play to, when you have such a good main, just to keep with it.
And even if he finds HMO5 and the Zephyr Badge, allowing him to use Flash, he will still not have Fly in Kanto in Logic, because the Logic never requires you to take the boat in order to get Fly.
So this is interesting. So Mountebank has actually reset away both the Pokegear and the SS ticket, knowing both of them are out of logic for the moment. So that's really interesting, and I'm hoping he remembers where to get those.
He's a very experienced runner, so I'm sure that he will remember that. But yes, it is interesting to reset those items away.
Yeah, and so he still hasn't marked on his tracker, but okay, so no, he has the SS ticket still, but we
get confirmation. We get confirmation on Roushmore's side of the screen that the Centric was the starter that he passed up on.
Yeah. So, however, Monty is aware that it's a needed item as he's left that square unmarked. So, I think that's a pretty smart move there. I probably would have just ate the time, because I don't like having to backtrack, or having to remember which locations I checked before that were important, but it's good to keep that in mind. So it's interesting to see that Roush has opted to, since he hasn't gone back to the dark to get Rock Smash, he was only able to collect that one rare candy in Dark Cave, but is also checking these 2 other items. So I think it's a little bit of difference of a route difference there that kind of will save time, as Monte was thinking ahead a little bit more. Although Rival 3 is giving Monty some issues with that Noctowl.
It is called the Superb Owl for a reason.
Yeah, it has a decently high special defense, which means it doesn't tend to get knocked out as quickly as you would hope it to be knocked out. Yeah, 2 crits in a row sounds about right. Luckily, it's only a Centret still. It does have extreme speed, but Monty has plenty of health after using a max revive there. So we have the roamers coming up, and we get to play our favorite game of Who's That Roamer? Alright. I think I actually recognize all 3. So I'll let the chat have its first guess, since I know there's a couple of you in there who definitely know those cries.
And it does look like Mounty is going to try and catch a roamer here.
I believe it was a Slowpoke, Hoot Hoot, and Goldeen?
Monty not getting lucky with the encounters. Now going to be fighting Kimono Girls. A check that some runners like to skip for as long as possible.
Yeah. However, we've found out in this tournament it can be very much the difference maker. Regardless of the roamers being good or bad, it is a level 40, which can bail you out a little bit. And I think having that level 40 would be nice, good repel bait for the inevitable Mount Mortar waterfall checks, which are probably likely in his mind.
And Mounty has just taught Drill Peck to his Zapdos, so he was obviously just waiting to see what the roamers were, see if he caught one before he committed to teaching that. But now he's happy to commit to the Zapdos for the time being, so...
Absolutely.
He will definitely be hoping for a good electric move on this Zapdos at some point, though.
Right now it's got some very decent moves in Drill Peck, Surf, Psychic, and if he wanted to, Aurora Beam, but I think Sacred Fire is just better than Aurora Beam here, for multiple reasons. And Roush is returning to fight the Soft Sand Girls. And if this is the progression item, Monty is not going to come back here for a long time.
Did Mounty reset away his SS ticket?
No, the SS ticket was in the cave. He reset away the Pokegear.
Alright. And of course, the Pokegear he'll be able to grab quite easily when he does the rest of Route 45 once he gets to Blackthorn later in the game.
So, Roush did get that good burn on the artillery to make its ancient power much less painful. Oh, and that's a Blizzard Cloister. You... Oof. This has just been rough for Roush. Okay, so he realizes, okay, I'm not strong enough quite yet to take on the Soft Sand Girls. That was round 3, but luckily there's, in a boxing match, there are usually 10 rounds. Or they're up to 10 rounds, assuming you don't get knocked out.
Soft Sand Girls showing they're anything but soft in this ROM.
Well, you know, they are training, so they don't take well to those who interrupt their training.
I mean, they're 3 teenagers hanging out by a creek. They're definitely doing something legitimate. They're not just, like, doing drugs or anything. No, definitely not.
We've seen our runners hit by lots of ice moves this game. Ice and electric moves, rock moves. It really shows you that this game really doesn't want this to be a total walk in the park.
Yes, flying types are a magnet for ice and electric moves in particular. It is the downside to running them.
Curse you, Morty, getting in the way! Always trying to troll here. Oh my goodness. He's just... Ugh.
Oh wait, is that Morty in the tower as well?
Yes.
I never knew that.
Yes. You see him wanting to talk to you, but then Morty's running around, blocking areas, getting in your way. He's not just a scam, he's also a jerk.
Now I'm starting to understand your animosity towards Morty.
Yes. Well deserved. Then set up some items, or X specials, very good. Runnable Snorlax, Aeroblast, and a bunch of special moves. But still, Aeroblast, Snorlax is scary. Fireman meme. Well, we got Zapdos versus Zapdos. Monty Zapdos was a little bit lower level, but having the X specials made the big difference there. As they both burned each other. And no! Little Bear, no! I'm sorry. Sorry. Ah, and there's the rising
not
badge.
A scam.
Nah, that's the needed rising badge at this point. And so now we have opened up a lot more checks.
And Mounty will make his way straight to Mount Mortar, now that he can do all the waterfall checks. Although, he doesn't have Surf yet. Oh no, he does. He does, yeah. He can do all of the waterfall checks.
On listening to it again, I think it is indeed, Caterpie. Also a smoke ball, very useful for Mountebank. He is gonna opt to check Mortar Waterfall later, as you can. He's gonna wait to get enough levels to be able to repel it all. But if he didn't want to wait, a smoke ball would let him escape from any and all encounters.
Meanwhile, Roushmore heading towards Olivine, so more deviation in the routes from the runners.
We've just seen so many Nidoran lines. Although this pink Nidoran looks absolutely fabulous.
But with a required badge on Morty, the question does become, will Roushmore attempt to fight Morty earlier, or will he try and skip that check? If he does, he'll be in a lot of trouble.
Well, I'm sure he'll get around to it sooner rather than later. Meanwhile, we've entered the Press A segment of Mountebank's journey. Not quite the usual pushover it normally is, due to the levels being much more similar at this point. But should still be a breeze.
And yes, I quite like doing Rocket Underground personally. It gives you plenty of time to plan out your route based on what you've done so far. You don't really need to think about what you're doing for 10 minutes because you just follow the path.
Meanwhile, Roush is entering the lighthouse. We'll be trying to get those checks done too. All of Iron's Swordflow have been rather dry, so hopefully the lighthouse will have something to make up for that. Meanwhile, Drillpig Zapdos doing Drillpig Zapdos things and dispatching most Pokemon very quickly.
Interesting that he didn't just drill peck that Tyrogue and chose to drown it instead.
Gotta save the frames. That's super effective text you don't need to have.
Sentrets everywhere.
Well, you know how that, they're pretty common in the wild normally, so makes sense. Because the levels are so close, it's not always a one-shot for Mountebank. Zapdos having the slow legendary experience curve does make it a little bit harder to have the sufficient levels to one-shot as much as you would hope for. But it does do a good job as is. Oh, looks like it was an item that, whatever that item is in that corner, it is an item that Roush is opting to take. Oh yes, a nugget. Some good money to have. Although with full item rando, we tend to have enough money as is. They don't need to necessarily pick up nuggets and the like. And we have the pass here, which is really interesting. Since that means that Storm Badge can be in
Kanto after all, yes.
A really intriguing find. Hopefully it does not lead Roush too much astray, but, it does open up the opportunity to get a level 39 main, if he so chooses, up to level 39. That's one of the rarer things. You're more likely to see something level 37 or 38.
And HMO1, the lighthouse is absolutely stacked. Of course, runners will need to find the Hive badge before they can use Cut in the overworld, and it looks like Roush is going to surf to Cyanwood, even though he only has one check available there until he gets access to Strength.
I mean, honestly, I think this is a interesting gamble to take. we've seen Roush as being a lot more willing to take these gambles to hopefully outdo what Monty is, doing. He might be feeling a little bit behind, or might just know that, because Monty is one of those stronger players that we have in the tournament, that, you may not be able to get over him execution-wise, but sometimes to get one over someone like that, you would definitely want to take these gambles. Unfortunately,
And
it haven't paid off as much.
Roush just gets a soft sand, as if mocking him for running away from the soft sand girls twice.
Yeah, but that's okay. It also gives him this future fly point, as we pick up the machine part in the rocket hideout. As we are crossing the 1 hour mark, happy hour. Ooh, and there's the Thunder Badge as well.
And only 2 badges in the first hour of the run.
Yeah, this has been very much stingy for progress. But, eventually we'll get more items. Stocking up on, was that 61 super repels? I think Roush will have enough for will have way more than enough for the rest of the game. I think even most people will generally get about 40, and that should be sufficient. But 60 will be definitely plenty.
Yes, that's true, Roushmore. He's probably just getting some super repels early for his next race. We see he's now going to enter into Kimono, so whether he does Morty or not is the big question.
Well, I mean, I can respect Roush's play. Yes, Storm Badge has its, restrictions. That doesn't mean it has to be in a very nice spot. As we see the secret potion here for Mountebank. So this routing has been paying off a little bit more in dividends for Mountebank, as he's going to be able to complete the lighthouse in one sweep.
Yeah, one of the reasons I always try to do other things before Lighthouse is just in case that secret potion turns up. I'm not above doing Lighthouse without it. It's still worth doing even without it, but if you've got other major areas like the Rocket Underground to check first, I would prioritise them above the Lighthouse for that very reason.
Say there's a lot more items you can get, and Monty is definitely playing the percentages a little bit more, as we've seen kind of consistently through here, where Mountebank will take those bigger checks and string around a lot more of the efficient ones, whereas Roush has been more cherry picking. Alright, if you're going to switch to a Mewtwo, I suppose this would be a time to switch to it. It's got Blizzard, so it's definitely no joke.
Mounty's not interested.
Well, I mean, that'd be a downgrade overall from the Zapdos due to levels and just the overall moveset on his Zapdos already. And plus, he has lots of experience on that. Honestly, I wouldn't throw away this Zapdos for that Mewtwo unless it definitely showed me more than just Psychic. It would have to show me at least Ice Beam and probably Thunderbolt as well. Levels are very hard to get by with legendaries. And going down, and with the upcoming fights coming,
and Roush did not fight Morty, went straight into Mount Mortar, so not going to get that Rising Badge, which means he's not going to be able to do all the checks in here that he would otherwise be able to do.
I mean, I think it's respectable to have looked at least as pointed out, but I think Monty is just definitely happy with what he's got as at the moment. Regardless, Monty did see it had Blizzard and Comet Punch, and I don't think you want to be relying on Blizzard as your main attacking move. Partly because it's low accuracy. So we see Roush here taking Mount Mortar basement, kind of. And he does find the Zephyr badge here, which is really intriguing. So it seems like that Pokegear and the SS ticket will be in play potentially much sooner than what we expected.
Zephyr badge also gives you one additional check on Route 32, which can be important.
Yes, we've seen that be and been somewhat of a decider between our racers here, or not these specific racers, but in a race in the past.
Roushmore now heading towards the shiny and probably about to do the entire Rocket Underground sequence that Mounty's already done.
Yeah.
Let's see if the price is right. The price is right. We get the Hive badge.
Of course, Cut is in the lighthouse, so he's a little bit further away from that. But he does have the Mount Mortar checks to do, which are definitely a little bit more efficient there. He is only level 31, so he will be getting potentially encounters, so using those rare candies to get up to level 33, which is enough to out-level any encounter slots in Mount Mortar waterfall locked items. I guess he is getting the stairs item as well. It may have been... may have just saved that for later, knowing he would be going up the waterfall. Very good.
Yeah, just by doing Morty first, Mounty will be able to do every check in Mount Mortar now.
Yes. And buying those 31 repels has really been shown there as well, as he's able to not have to take an intermediate stop in Olivine to restock on repels. Sometimes overbuying on the repels early on is able to pay off, so you're able to do these checks without having to worry about making an inefficient stop into Olivine just to get super repels.
It really is a completely different game between when you have fly and when you don't have fly.
I would agree to that, yes.
It's not merely the amount of time that fly saves you, but the amount of routing flexibility that fly gives you.
Yeah, I would definitely advocate a little bit more of the routing flexibility. It lets you kind of skip around to do the most efficient checks. Whereas when you don't have fly, you want to spend as much time as you can fully clearing out a location so that you don't have to double back.
Roush still has not taught Drill Peck to his Zapdos.
He may not be fully committed to it. Also, I don't know what move he would teach. I guess he would teach it over Wing Attack, I suppose. But in this, in this game, Wing Attack is definitely good for dealing with low-level pokes.
And Mounty's found the old rod.
Yeah, we have our first rod in, an hour into the game. Definitely not coming to play as much right now, but you never know. Yeah, Monty has definitely planned out his repel stuff pretty well, as he's gonna have more than enough to do that and a few left over in case of other checks that opened up. As we have the Cascade badge here. Ooh, this is pretty good. He will have almost the phone call.
Yeah, 6 badges now for Mounty, so 1 away from getting the phone call for the Rocket Tower sequence.
And of course, more rare candies. I feel like the rare candies have been sort of leading us to the spots with all the progress.
There's
How do we get?
HM04.
We have
order is absolutely stacked.
Yes, and that strength location is really interesting, as it's waterfall locked, but also means that you wouldn't be able to check
and the radio
strength locked ones without it, without waterfall. Yeah, so I wonder if Monte's kind of thinking about that Pokegear he left behind on Route 46 now. But regardless, I think he is pretty committed to this Zapdos.
Well, he knows where that if he ever wants to go back for it.
Yes, he did leave it unmarked so that he can return to it. Not to pick up some of these items that I definitely would have opted to pick up myself, such as the max revive, some of these full restores and full heals, I believe. Well, but honestly, this is just good play as well. So when you're going down here, you'll notice that both of our runners did fight the male Pokefan. Without Fly, you want to fight him rather than the girl, because you're still going to have to fight him if you were to bike back through that location. So most people just out of habit will fight him.
But yes, if you do have Fly, it's faster to fight the other girl instead, and then you can use Fly to get around him without ever needing to fight him. And Machine Part and Thunder Badge for Roushmore now.
Really curious what Jasmine's gonna have, because we didn't get to see this check. But it'll be, hopefully we will get to see. We will hopefully also get to see on Roush's side those Lake of Red cut checks that Monty was not able to get.
And Roushmore has just taught Drill Peck to his Zapdos, and appears to be teaching it Surf as well.
Yeah, he's committed. And I think it's respectful
Surf over
of the whole
Sacred Fire, so he's now running Surf and Waterfall.
I think that's fine. Honestly, your water has some very good coverage, and those are both still strongish moves, so. So, I guess the real question here is what Roush is going to be doing from here. Because I don't know when he would necessarily opt to fight Morty. He may just kind of take the cut checks and then route in doing the quick Kanto checks with using the pass he acquired. Whereas Monty is sort of making the efficient checks of going to Olivine and would, if he doesn't care about necessarily fly logic, would be more willing to go to Kanto that way. And then I believe cut is the next item, if my memory serves correctly.
Yes, he'll get the... Well, the hype badge is on price.
I like the cut of your jib there, Wingage. He wants to see... he wants to see the third match with the soft sand girls. Surely, for being so strong, they're gonna have some needed progress. Maybe they'll have Storm Badge.
If soft sand girls have had Storm Badge this entire time, I'm going to laugh.
I think it's only deserved that they do at this point, considering the menace they've been. I mean, this ROM does have a sense of humor. And Roush is opting to catch the Mewtwo. We'll get to see those Mewtwo movesets soon. Alright, and here comes Jasmine. Alright, Bone Ring, Blizzard, Comet Punch, and I believe that was Fury Attack? Honestly,
Yeah,
that's
Fury
not
Attack.
That's not a bad moveset there. Still opting to keep the Zapdos for obvious reasons. Definitely a workable moveset on Mewtwo if you were to choose it. But opts to use PP ups on Surf, which is good. It looks like Jasmine was just nothing. Nothing important anyways. And off to the boat we go. So this makes it a little bit easier for Mountebank to do this play, because he does have that pass.
Yes, I also think that Mounty doesn't really have any more checks in Johto at this point. Although I guess he could go for some cut checks. But they're quite out of the way.
Yeah. It's going to be definitely more efficient routing at this point. Going through and doing at least the quick Kanto checks that he can, now that he knows that Storm Badge could be there. But also to, well, be able to not need to double back as much through, you know, through Ekritik, when he could just take the train ticket back to Goldenrod anytime. That's one of the nice things about the Randomizer, that it does enable these regardless of the day. As in Crystal, they are actually restricted by day. Also, there's another small thing that we don't actually talk about, is that in the vanilla game, you're actually not able to fly between Johto and Kanto. You can only fly within the same region you are in. Speed choice makes it obviously possible, which is a little small quality of life change that makes a huge difference to everyone, especially when you're doing item randomizers.
And Roushmore going to be doing Lake of Rage checks now. One benefit of his routing is that he's already right here.
Yeah, that is really good. And I guess Monte's been somewhat naughty, as the old man just gives him a lump of coal.
Roushmore gets the Dig TM. And another rare candy.
I guess the old man was tired of people not listening to his rants and decided to give only a lump of coal to anyone who would even bother to listen. Although there is a very nice plain badge on Mr. Psychic.
Yeah, the Plain Badge is huge because he now has access to strength as well as triggering the rocket tower sequence. This means he'll be able to do Chuck's Gym. He'll be able to do the Waterstone Chamber. There's the Rainbow Badge. Saffron City is absolutely stacked.
It is quite loaded indeed. Yeah, there's a
lot. Oh, and Roushmore's about to fight Morty, so he will find that Rising Badge at last.
Yes, I think this is a fine time to check for Roush because you are heading back towards Ecruteak anyways. You might as well knock it down, deal with it, and also eventually potentially open up Tin Tower access since you do have one part to it. And you are right that E4 is in logic. Maybe we'll see them go for an early E4. We might have to wait until at least have Fly and Storm Badge. A very nice save spot for Mountebank. It is going to be able to check all these locations at the same time. Yeah. Oops. Yeah. You kind of have to teach Cut to to chop it down. He's holding off on teaching strength because if he save resets, he's just gonna have to teach it over again. So I do think it's a smart idea. Probably gonna check that TM. Nothing good. Endure is not going to be useful for him at the moment, so that's fine.
So he's now going to head up and return the machine part. He'll be hoping that he gets Fly along the way here so that he can just fly away from the power plant afterwards.
Regardless, it doesn't have to worry too much because he has Cut. You're able to pass by into Cerulean without having to fight any additional trainers. So I don't think it's of the utmost importance if you to get a Storm Badge here. It would be nice, but it wouldn't be critical. Small thing is to remember that, you know, Cut is a logical access to Power Plant in this case. However, it is just as convenient to get done the rock tunnel checks while you can, just to make it a single loop. But we do have the Glacier Badge here. So that's really interesting. As Roush is immediately turning around and going to be climbing the waterfall. And he will be rewarded for doing so with lots of items.
So Mounty will remember that the Whirlpool lock checks are not in logic until he finds HM05.
Yes. I mean, for the most part. I mean, I guess the bulk of the checks that you could get are default flash check anyways, as Royal Islands has the most checks, with there being only the Solar Beam TM location and the back 3 items of Dragon's Den that are also Whirlpool locked.
That's true, but since some runners can do Royal Islands in the dark, he might second guess actually doing it in the dark since he knows that it's not in logic until he has flash.
Well, I mean, Monty's been mostly ignoring logic all game, so I don't know if that necessarily means he'll hold off on it. I think he'll just kind of keep it in mind that Flash is going to be around somewhere. As Monty is showing off this movement to avoid hitting that mandatory trainer that you have to fight when you're coming from the left side. Whereas when you're going from the right side, you can just kind of take a little back route away from it.
And Cascade Badge for Roushmore.
Yep. Picking up TM10. I'm be interested to see what the marked TMs are, but I don't know if Mountebank will really be checking, as his moveset is pretty good right now. I mean, I think he could really only ask for a stab electric move at this point.
And Strength for Roushmore as well.
And there's his radio card as well. Monte is returning to do it here. Did he save? I imagine he did. Oh, doesn't even matter.
There's the Storm Badge behind the shank part all along.
So, yeah, that's one of the weird quirks. A lot of times so it can't be on Misty's gym, but we did allow it if you had the machine part for it to be on the check. Honestly, it's a very rare chance, but it's not something I've been super fond of, but it hasn't come into play too much, luckily.
Mounty gonna make his way now through Ice Path into Blackthorn and Route 45. This will also allow him to pick up that Poké Gear again, which I'm sure he wants to do as soon as he can.
Yeah. So now it sort of makes sense about how the Poké Gear was obtained. Or obtainable. Since we have more than 7 badges. And there's the Rainbow Wing as well. So fighting Morty does allow him, or since he fought Morty, it does allow him also to climb the tower after his quick checks through East Johto.
Roushmore just did the Zephyr Badge check and got the red scale for it.
Yes. Good catch.
And it looks like he's going to go hand that in right now, so we'll see if the red scale is important.
Good catch. I was looking at Monty's side of the screen at that point. So Roush is going to pick up that SS ticket. Maybe back in the mind that he was able to get that sooner, but he'll know that it's still not in logic quite yet. Or for that ticket to be in logic, and may not go back and do the boat until much later on if he's still looking for once he's doing one-off checks, since he has already been to Kanto. Or he has access to Kanto already. He hasn't been there quite yet. Besides what that guy tells you right outside of Tojo Falls. Not saving in here, just taking the item. We'll get reward with his Pokegear.
And lost item for Mountebank.
Oh, very good. Quite a long ways away from where that girl was. It's rather unfortunate that she dropped it in here. It's quite a distance away from Saffron. Oh, and we have the basement key for the Rising Badge check. Oh, that's... Ooh, this is plot thickening. Meanwhile, Mountebank continues to show that dark rooms are no issue. And we'll do all the dark checks in the dark. Showing his experience and able to definitely maneuver here. Although, may have gone slightly lost. But is able to make it through. And is rewarded with a good rod. Okay, so our runners have taken very different paths. Which I think makes this really interesting as Monty picks up Whirlpool on Route 45. So he's able to get done the rest of his dark checks too here. Although I don't think our runners have picked up Silverwing, so we don't have to worry about switching to level 60 quite yet. You know, the more and more I'm seeing this, I wouldn't be surprised if Soft Sand Girls actually had Flash. What do you think?
I think I wouldn't be surprised either. I think Flash is probably meant to be before all these other items, so we'll just see.
Wait, that's right. Roush only has 6 badges. So this is going to be really interesting because he is going to go and pick up these early basement items and hope that there's actually a 7th badge in here, so he can get the director item as well. I didn't even think about that. I mean, seeing Monty having beyond 7 badges, this is definitely a good play, especially when you think you're behind. If you think you're behind, I mean, it's definitely hard to tell, but when it gets to that.
So, to explain this for people who don't know, the basement does not have rocket trainers in it until you collect 7 badges. If you find the card key and defeat Team Rocket, then the rocket trainers in the basement will disappear. But if you go into the basement with the basement key before you have 7 badges, they will also not be there, meaning you only have to fight Rival and can then do all the checks without needing to fight anyone.
Exactly, and he is more than high enough level for this not to be a daunting fight. It may be challenging, but it's not going to be too difficult. As he is on level with it. We'll opt to use the next item though to make this go a little bit smoother. Which I think is a very good move as well.
Meanwhile, Mounty's making his way into the Tin Tower now, fighting the 3rd Elder, and we'll then see him pick up a whole bunch of items.
We're gonna kind of quickly change the fight music. I think to get that nice rocket music as well, the basement music as well. Well, I guess it's not gonna be rocket music since it's not triggered yet.
I mean, I think we should keep our audio on Mounty because he's clearly in the lead.
I do like the basement music though, a little bit. And it was a Caterpie. Alright, I got it right the second time.
Roushmore found TM05, which is not HM05.
I just did a quick check there. 1, 2, 1, or 1, 2, pick up the item, 1, and then grabbing this last item as well. Just an Ultra Ball. And of course, able to make it through the way by hitting 1 again. We got Rock Smash here, although we did already buy it, so. More Ultra Balls. Moonstone for Roush.
Another save scum here to save a bunch of movement if this item's not required.
Yep, it's not. No badges yet here. And unfortunately, basement is barren. With the exception of course, Falls Director, the regular director. We don't know what's on the regular director as he doesn't have 7 badges and thus was unable to collect that item. It looks like it's time for a rematch with the Soft Sand Girls. And so
Soft
far,
Sand 3, Revenge of the Sith.
yes. And it looks like Tin Tower's been empty, pretty much, void of any useful items. Which are actually really rare, considering how many item spots there are here.
This is to be expected in a seed where Morty had a badge.
So you're saying he's being a scam? He's trying to lead you astray, rather? Not just a scam, but he's just leading you astray. And all those fights for just a full heal. Well played, Soft Sand Curls. Well played.
And the Ho-Oh is a Celebi.
Not interested. So, Roush is on his way to Kanto. We'll be picking up a bunch of badges here, and hopefully one of those being the Storm Badge. I do think he would probably turn in the Machine Bart. I hope he would take that into account, that it's a possibility the Storm Badge can be there. Oh, and there's Flash! Ah, yeah. So the man Slowpoke Will was just holding on, just to make it sure that you had it in time for the Flash Chamber.
Now, Roushmore just picked up the Volcano Badge in the dojo, and I think Mounty just skipped checking the dojo when he was in.
That's
Saffron.
correct. He doesn't even have it marked on his tracker. That's an oversight, and we have seen that be a difference in actually one of our group stages. The
Yes,
dojo strikes again.
If Mounty forgets to check the dojo, then he is not going to be able to finish this wrong, which would be a really surprising twist.
Yes, indeed. But there's plenty of time to pick that up. And, Monty does have that square open, so maybe he'll remember to pick it up there. as we find the tandem bicycle as well. And an item finder to help him perhaps seek the items that he's looking, or help him better find items he's seeking, rather.
So, Saffron City even more absolutely stacked than we already thought, with 3 badges in it.
Monty does not have the Volcano Badge marked. I only can tell that he has a green square on his Saffron, but I don't know if he clicked it or if he individually clicks it, because he does have the lost doll, or lost item, that it is available to him at that point. As we do find the Earth Badge here. And goodbye, menu. We have some interesting high crit moves in the mark, but nothing I'd be super enthralled about.
We know that Mounty hasn't checked the lost item yet, so he knows that he has a couple of checks in Saffron. It's just a question of whether he remembers that he hasn't checked the dojo already.
And there's the Soul Badge.
There's the Soul Badge. So,
the Flash
Lords of Alpha absolutely
required.
stacked.
Yes, and as Flash is absolutely required. No getting around it this time. Yes, so Monty already did the Clown's Tag route on Route 5. Does pick up his red skill as well. Yeah, no, this is gonna be interesting because he's gonna have a lot of locations that he's able to access. And I think for the sake of both of our runners, I hope that Mountebank does find that location. And
Nanty's run into a Roma, and it is a Slowpoke.
You know, I think it's actually, funnily enough, very appropriate that he runs into it this late. Because he went looking for the roamer first, and he goes, "Oh, sorry I'm late!" You know, Slowpoke being Slowpoke and all. Decides to show up much later, unplanned for. Slowpoke, always late till party.
So Mounty going to do the Lake of Rage checks. We know that there's nothing particularly important here. Roushmore is heading towards Fuchsia to fight Janine.
Well, there is a piece of candy on the hidden power guy, so at least he gets rewarded for checking. And TM and TM spot, right? Forgot about that. The dig TM. I indeed can dig it. I'll see myself out.
This is going to hurt me when I go back to running bingos, is that I no longer remember which of these checks are supposed to be TMs and not.
Alright, so we have... Oh, and Monty's teaching over Rock Smash. As he's already done all the Rock Smash checks, it's not a problem to teach over it right now. And I think that Politoed was... Oh, that's right, it's been doing Kinesis. X accuracy helps, although I don't remember if Politoed was using Roar either. Yeah, Monty is at least gonna turn in, please get the secret potion check. And then he's
interesting, not going to be doing Chuck.
Yeah, he's also not gonna be doing the Royal Island checks either.
Mounty's about to find the basement key.
Yes. basement key. I think he's gonna head off towards Victory Road. Well, it's not very hard to predict at this point, but it is, as Wage pointed out, it is in logic. He did already do those 2 checks and reset them away. We'll be able to do that Solar Beam TM location though right now to couple it in, so it is not isolated.
And I think Roushmore just whited out to Janine and got sent back to Vermilion City.
Yikes. This has been
That's very unfortunate.
kind of rough for Roush. However, I hope it does steer him a little bit more towards the Storm Badge location in returning and talking to the expansion card guy. You know, the TM being just in a simple TM location. Very definitely moving around that spinner, avoiding that guy. Very clean movement for Monty this realm, as always. Unfortunately taking a water encounter there, but it's not a problem. Should be able to just run away. It's not very often you get an encounter in this water part here, but it happens. You know, it's just thankfully not as common as Route 36, where the 2 tiles of grass are notorious for producing encounters. In fact, so notorious enough that speedrunners actually will cut that area with using the HM to save time. Because it's slightly faster to cut the area than to get an encounter.
So we'll see what there is to be found in Victory Road.
I'm a little surprised he was switching, or that Roush switched off of the Zapdos. Because I thought he was outspeeding it, the Cloyster, but that is a speed drop anyways he got. And sharing the experience with me too. Monty's found yet another badge. So we are 1 badge and 1 expansion card away from being in no mode.
2 badges. We haven't seen Mineral or Boulder yet.
Oh, sorry. Correct. Thank you for correcting me there. 2 badges away. And Roush will be picking up his Glacier badge here shortly. I am getting very anxious though, seeing Monty not having checked the dojo at all. I'm hoping he remembers it.
It's definitely a very dangerous situation for Mounty to have missed that check. It's not a check you skip, it's only ever a check that you forget to do. And if he's marked it as done it accidentally, then he is going to have a lot of trouble figuring out where this Volcano Badge is.
I imagine he's been individually clicking those checks, but that doesn't stop you from clicking a check you think you've checked already. Honestly, if I come to late game and I'm trying to find out what I missed, that's not necessarily going to be at the top of my list. But I don't know what I would do in this case, so I'm going to hope for the better that he does remember when he goes towards Sabrina.
So now we see Mounty making his way to Janine, so we'll see if Janine had anything important that Roushmore missed out on by whiting out on this fight.
He is setting up on Janine. Definitely is going to make use of all those extra X accuracies he's bought. And has set up sufficiently, doesn't have to worry about accuracy, because in this game, once you set up an X accuracy, that you are guaranteed to hit your moves no matter what. Roush does opt to fight this trainer. Not necessary, but you know, it's probably not it's not the worst thing ever, and I don't know if he's trying to get more experience on that Mewtwo or not.
I think he maybe just doesn't know that you can skip this trainer.
I mean, it's not very obvious that you can go around like that. You do have to hit it on the way, so that's true. It's not the worst thing ever. It's only 2 pokes, so it's still pretty quick.
Oh, we get some encounter too on this one tile for us.
Yeah. So Janine was nothing.
Janine has nothing. There is a cut-locked item here as well that he can check, which Roush also missed.
Well, Roush just kind of wiped to it. So understandably he did miss that check, because you normally will hold off on doing that check until you've already done Janine.
Roush still missing that all-important Storm Badge, nearly 2 hours into the run.
It is in a pretty unintuitive spot, knowing that Cerulean Gym is not in there. However, I do believe I specifically mentioned that it could be behind machine part stuff in the document. Alright, so we'll see if Monty remembers to check the dojo here, as he's turned in the lost item doll and flies away. This is definitely nerve-wracking to me.
Okay, Mounty's going to be doing Chuck's gym now. So this is a big opportunity for Roushmore to catch up.
Looks like Roush has decided to do Nugget Hedge Maze though, which is kind of an investment, but is very much needed experience at this point in time.
And there are 3 items attached to doing this gauntlet of trainers, so he could find that all-important expansion card. He could find that elusive mineral or boulder badge here.
Yeah.
I didn't even remember where Storm Badge was.
Storm Badge was talking to where you normally get the expansion card in Lavender Town.
Ah, okay, yeah. So unfortunate for Roushmore that he hasn't because he doesn't have fly, he hasn't gone that way yet.
Wow, I totally misspelled the name of my tournament info thing. I added an extra N in the tournament. And okay. I did make a note in Force Early Fly tournament that Enter Film Gym was not in there, but that destroying counted power may still be required for Fly. So, I hope that our runners have at least I hope that it has been read over to understand a little bit more about the modifier. Yeah, I think the longer we go without finding that card key or expansion card, the more likely Mountebank is going to be able to know to do the last check and or maybe go towards Sabrina and maybe rejigger or maybe kind of remind him that he hasn't been to the dojo, right? Because I thought he had been there, but he hasn't had it marked.
No,
And
I didn't see him go in there, and oh, the mineral badge is on Shuck.
yeah, so we are one item closer. Excuse me.
But yes, at the time, I assumed that he had done the dojo and it was nothing. We just hadn't seen it. But then when Roushmore picked up the Volcano Badge there, I realized that Monty actually didn't do it.
He did go from Saffron to Lavender to Cerulean and then back, but yeah. And I guess it looks like soft sand not soft sand. Well, soft sand girls were nothing, but it looks like Nuggy Hedge Maze wasn't anything important either. From what I can tell.
Well, we'll wait and see what Misty's item is. I consider all three of them to be the same thing.
And Mountebank showing off that very good movement. Oh, and there's the Boulder Badge.
There's the Boulder Badge.
All right. So. Normally, we'd be only looking for the expansion card. Oh my god.
The expansion card. If Mountebank had gone to the dojo, he would be in go mode in under 2 hours. But it could take him a long time to find that Volcano Badge.
Yeah, no, he still hasn't marked that Volcano Badge. He's
gonna do all the checks in... he's gonna do all the checks in World Island now. He's gonna do all the checks in West Kanto now.
Yeah, no, this is actually very, very dangerous.
If he finds the card key, he could do the whole of Rocket Tower and the whole of Dragon's Den.
Yeah, no, this is kind of...
And the basement?
Yeah, no, this is gonna be very scary. And, honestly, if you forget to do dojo, it's very hard to kind of remember to do that, and... I'm just hoping he doesn't right-click the...
The question really is, how long will it take Roushmore to find all these other badges? They're all there to be found, he just hasn't looked in the right places for some of them yet.
That's correct. Although he is hopefully heading towards that Storm Badge right now. After making a quick detour for Sabrina, yeah.
Oh, he hits an optional in Sabrina's gym as well.
Yeah. Alright, so here's the Snorlax. I mean, if anything, Mountebank is still very underleveled for red, so this will give him some time to either get experience or find a new main.
Oh, it's a Macho.
I'd consider switching to it, but this Zapdos is pretty darn good.
He's catching it. I mean, it's 11 levels higher. If he gives it a rare candy to evolve it straight away, then it's a 12 level jump.
Right.
Honestly, it can be the hardest thing in this game, is figuring out where you missed a check. And we've seen it get other runners. We saw the other day in a runner had the red scale but hadn't marked on their tracker that they had picked up the red scale, and the red scale was actually required to collect the final badge, and they spent a really long time doing other checks.
Yeah.
And they had what they needed, they just didn't mark on their tracker that they had what they needed, and it was very tragic to see. They actually would have won the race most likely.
Absolutely, yeah. No, this is... It's really never a sure thing about this kind of stuff.
And right now, Mounty isn't going to even consider the possibility that he's missed the Volcano Badge because there's so many checks still to do.
Oh, absolutely. You know, this is still relatively quick seed. In fact, it'd be even quicker at this point. Yeah, so as aptly put out by Wingage there, we know that Mountebank has a lead. The question is it going to be enough to enough of a lead to help him overcome and remember where he missed a check?
Okay, so Roushmore is going to go back to Lavender. It looks like he will find the Storm Badge at long last.
Which he'll
so that's
with
absolutely the most important thing for him to find at this point.
Yeah, it looks like Monty is switching off that Zapdos. We'll be slapping a rare candy on. And Roush is gonna collect his Storm Badge at the 2-hour mark. Very good. Still, I mean, considering it's a tricky location, I think it's very much a welcome reprieve to get it.
And it looks like Roush now is going to try and fight Janine again since he wasn't able to beat her the first time.
Alright, so we got Aeroblast on Machamp, alright. His moveset very much needing help. Submission, very good. He's gonna get Strength. And I think there was a Bone Rush TM if he was gonna do that. But I think those three moves are pretty sufficient.
And Mounty now going to be fighting the Soft Sand Girls.
Yeah, so around this time, Mounty's probably thinking, aha! This is the one check that I do put off all the time. So I'm gonna make... And it made a big difference, I believe, in one of his earlier races as well. So, he's gonna do it now, too. Unfortunately, he's only gonna be rewarded with a full heal.
So let's run through everything that Roushmore needs to do to finish. Obviously, he needs to go to Whirl Islands.
Yeah, so he needs to go to...
One of the badges was in a Flash Chamber, wasn't it?
Yeah, so Flash Chamber was... Flash was in Slowpoke Well on the King's Rock guy. Whirlpool was on Route 45, so that will unlock one of the badges and the expansion card. Chuck had...
Boulder Badge.
The Boulder Badge. And I think one of the other badges was in the Waterstone Chamber check as well.
Yeah. And I'm trying to remember where Earth Badge was.
I don't remember. It was picked up relatively recently when Monty was doing a bunch of quick checks around.
And where was the Rainbow Wing?
Oh, right, that was... Yeah, I think Earth Badge was in... Rainbow Wing... was... I thought on the way to Route 45. But...
Yeah, it could have been an Ice Path, actually. So these are all areas Roushmore's very likely to check. Now that he has Fly, he can get easy access to them.
Yeah, it's just rather unfortunate that Monty has kind of overlooked a simple check, which unfortunately would be his go mode item at this point.
Yes, I mean, let's be fair. If Mounty had done that when he passed by it originally, he could have been finished by now.
I don't know. This would be... I don't know about finish.
It would have been in go mode like 5 or 6 minutes ago.
Yes. But anyways, Roush is on his way to get Flash, so this is going to be good for him.
In fact, Mounty would have had a chance not only to win this race, but also to set a record for this tournament so far.
I think it would have been a little bit more difficult, considering he is only level 54 Machamp with a very lackluster moveset, and I don't know how many X attacks he's bought. Although X attacks are relatively easy to buy.
Roushmore doing the Slowpoke World check now. Finding the Flash HM, very important.
Yeah, so I suppose the clock is ticking now as Roush is getting those checks done, and he's teaching strength to Snorlax as well. I guess I was a little bit confused since he taught Mewtwo as first.
So yes, even though Roushmore is 8 items away from
Or was that
Flash,
Flash?
and Mounty is only 1, Roushmore has the strategic advantage in this race at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, this is gonna be a really close race at this point. To see how many more checks Monty would do versus you know, the time Roush would do to get the rest of these checks done. And there was the Earth Badge. It was the Water Stone Chamber. And the Pokedex. Yeah, so he did teach strength. I think he meant to teach flash. All right, that's a you know, that's just a quick fix though, not a problem. As Monty's taking on Erica, I mean, I guess the consolation prize for all of this is that it's more experienced as Machamp, so theoretically his red fight should be a little bit easier. And there's the Soul Badge. I don't remember where the Marsh Badge was, but maybe that was Tin Tower.
He's won a Goldenrod. He's
Yeah,
gonna do the plain badge check.
Yes. I hope for Monty's sake he never finds the card key.
Yes, that is going to be a real massive time loss if he does find the card key somewhere. Roushmore's gonna go and hand in the secret potion now. So this will be a little bit of a detour for him. This doesn't lead anywhere, but he may also just go to Chuck after doing this.
Yeah, I mean he did get that fly point.
Yeah, and you tend to think about Olivine. You tend to think about Slamwood when you're in Olivine, so
yeah, I would agree with that. More useless junk. So it's gonna be a question of where to go next.
Mounty is headed to Saffron.
Oh, he's heading towards Sabrina's gym. Is he gonna remember? He's saving.
It's possible he has some sort of custom of checking the dojo at the same time as Sabrina, but
no, I think that's a simple
he's forgotten that check, and I don't think he's going to find it again.
No, I think he's just simply forgotten that check, honestly. And I think from his save, it doesn't confirm that he has 15 badges. So...
Well, yes, he definitely wouldn't be doing all this if he had them all.
I mean, sometimes it's possible to get what you think to mismark something and get it on, but yeah, no, this is This is gonna be hard. And Roush is gonna check the boat since he's known that that was a thing that could be possible too. So we're kind of hoping and willing. So Monty just reset, hoping willing he remembers before he right clicks. And I'm gonna have to double check on a square. No, he has it Saffron totally cleared out. So this is that's not good.
This is
totally
a
marked it off.
serious challenge for Mountebank now to recover from this, because he's not going to know that he's made a mistake until he clears out every other check in the game and doesn't have the Volcano Badge.
So this is going to be kind of a thing, because when you know that you're missing when you eventually find that you're missing something, you're going to have to go back and figure out where you've missed the check. And I think NPC items are the hardest one to remember, because it's not. I mean, with item balls, you can see you can try to pick it up again, for example.
Well, the
or you
dojo
can
is
see
an
where
item ball. It's not an.
Oh,
NPC
it is an item ball. That's right. Duh. Actually, so that'll be something. At least that's something working in his favor. However, it's also unfortunately not easily viewable from an outside route. So I don't know. This is gonna be a little bit more intense. Oh no! You hate for this to happen, especially when we're right now in the round of 16. This is the single elimination tournament. So right now, you have to remember that you don't get to the best of 3s until you make the top 4. So if you lose, you're out. There is no double. It is not double elimination. There is no loser's bracket to make a comeback run. This is one and done. So it's really going to be now kind of when Roush decides to check Ice Path, really.
Both runners currently in Surge's gym. We know that it's nothing. We really want to see Roushmore go to Chuck's gym in particular.
Well, we'd like to see him go to Route 45, honestly, and through Ice Path. Yeah, and there you go. Monty is stocking up on those X attacks. Very easy to get done in this mart. So Monty's heading back here. Is he going to do Vanilla Basement? Oh no. Oh no. So
Mounty's going to be so sad when he finds out what he's done.
yeah, no, this is normally I advocate for basement, or even when it's getting down to this part for doing the basement, because to skip the card key check, but not like this is oh no.
So ERC, what Mounty knows is that the ROM logic will never dictate that you do basement with the rockets there, but he may be thinking that the logic wants him to do E4 to get the card key to clear Rocket Tower to get into the basement to get the final badge.
Yeah.
He's rolling the dice that he can actually bypass some of the logic and that this badge can still be in there.
Right.
Yes, he still has Route 4, Blue, and Blaine.
This is just the most dense checks. Although, right now, it's the most painful of checks. And it's going to be extra sad knowing none of this was even going to be needed at all. Yeah. So E4 locks 2 items. We got Blue, Blaine, Route 4. He hasn't done Brock yet either, as far as I know.
Oh yeah, I don't think Mounty's done Nugget Hedge Maze yet.
Yeah.
Roushmore
He has
heading
not.
into Burn Tower. Is this where the Rainbow Wing was, kind of thing?
No, Rainbow Wing was not here. I think both of our runners are kind of maybe feeling the pressure now at this point. Monty's definitely wanting to do the most efficient checks, even if it's not in logic. Roushmore is checking a lot of the one-offs or two-offs, potentially thinking, you know, I need to take these gambles to get ahead. And of course, the real situation right now is quite a bit different than what either of them probably are thinking about. While Roush is a little bit behind, he does have that critical Volcano Badge, which is honestly going to make a difference.
Heading towards Ice Path now, so he's going to find a lot of the items that he needs.
Yeah. False Director cannot have card key. That's vanilla card key, and that's not possible. Here's the Rainbow Wing.
Just outside Ice Path.
Yeah, so that cannot be possible. Vanilla card key is absolutely one of the few vanilla items we have prevented in this tournament. This is just oof.
No, we already have the basement key, Wiggage. We know where the...
Oh, you're saying False Director. My bad. You said False Director holding card key. I misread that.
Oh,
I
yes.
apologize.
Yes, okay, yes.
Thank you. Sorry about that. It's just so often kind of we think about the director, and it's very easy for me to, for example, get confused for that.
How many trainers are there in the basement when you have to...
including the guy outside and Arrival 10.
The ones that can be avoided. So
you can't avoid any. You can't avoid any of the trainers doing any of the checks.
You
doing all
can
the checks
by getting the card key.
Well, right, but
so
it cuts out
8 trainers that you would otherwise not fight.
Correct. On the plus side, though, Mountebank is going to be able to collect all the Ultra Balls, hopefully, potentially. It is a small consolation prize, although I wouldn't really consider that something to really write home about.
Oh, Roushmore. Slight movement error in the ice path, has to go around one way to get to that nutter, but gets through it.
And there's the lost item.
Yeah, we know the lost item doesn't lead to anything, but still good for him to find it.
Oh, this is gonna be painful. A lot of people definitely had Mountebank winning this, and we did see Mountebank route these pretty efficiently, but you know, Rando is Rando, and anything can happen.
Yeah, this is why these Rando tournaments are so fascinating to watch, because no matter how skilled and experienced a player is, it is possible for something like this to go wrong. And you're going to lose so much time to just one tiny mistake. And of course, he's just unlucky that that one item he missed was important. I missed 3 checks accidentally in my first race, but none of them were required, and I won it pretty comfortably. It's quite unlucky that Volcano Badge happened to be in that one exact spot instead of all these other places where it could have been.
I mean, anything is possible, and you know, it's not to say one, you know, and both our players are doing their best, and I think they've both played, I think, pretty well. It's really,
yeah. I mean, the fact that Mountebank would have been in go mode in under 2 hours shows how well he's played.
Yeah, but in the meantime, you know, this is still relatively quick for a seed. I mean, we're only at the 220 mark right now. I mean, and considering we're only a few items away from the finish.
And look, the light bulb could go off in Mounty's brain at any moment to tell him that he hasn't done the dojo, in which case he could be in go mode in moments from now. It's just a matter of whether that will occur to him or not. As Roushmore's now heading into Tin Tower.
Yeah. So, you know, the interesting thing is just that we've saw, because you know, Monty did pick up the expansion card in the last badges in World Islands, that none of West Kanto was needed at all. I mean, and the fact that we don't have card key means none of Radio Tower was needed either.
Yeah, if Mounty had found the Volcano Badge when he first could have, then his last item would have been the expansion card. We believe Marsh Badge was in Whirl Islands. I think that Mineral Badge is in Tin Tower or the Ho-Oh Chamber. Marsh Badge is in Whirl Islands, and we know the Boulder Badge is on Chuck.
Mm-hmm. And I didn't see what the director gave, but I mean, obviously it wasn't anything that entered. I don't think that entered Monty's bag.
Okay, so Mineral is in Whirl Islands then, and Marsh Badge is in Tin.
Yeah.
And the expansion card is also in
it was
Whirl
GM12.
Islands.
Thanks, Swingage. Yeah, no, this is kind of getting more dire. Monty is now heading off to Nugget Hedge Maze, which luckily the Nugget Hedge Maze plus Misty is also nothing, so there's not going to be anything doing that, although it is potentially inching him closer to potentially E4, Blue, Blaine, and the most thing we can hope for is that Card Key and Mystery Egg are both locked in Mount Silver. The more key items and fetch quest items that are locked in Mount Silver, the less opportunity there is to do those checks. Oh, yes, False Director is also still an option.
Yeah,
we've had a couple times
Yeah, from Mandy's point of view, there's no reason to think Volcano couldn't be on False Director.
Honestly, we've had False Director being the required check. Vanilla, or like, you had to climb up that part of the tower, or without the card key before, to get a required item on him before. That actually happened with Ruff versus Easton, which was, oof, that was also not a fun seed. I do believe there was one of the badges here in Tin Tower.
I'm just going to switch the audio to Roushmore because I think he is actually in the lead in real terms in this race.
Absolutely. I mean, also it's good to give some different audio as well.
Oh, we just know that the things Mounty is doing right now are not going to be productive, so we obviously will keep an eye on him. But it's just a matter of can Roushmore find the last 4 items he needs.
Right.
Okay, not save scumming these checks, Roushmore, just diving straight in. This is basically a long detour with just 2 items in it.
I mean, normally your repel wears out midway through these, so you're gonna have, when you're doing super repels, So it's just kind of a matter of when you choose to reapply Super Repel or not. Although, as pointed out, it would have saved a little bit of time. Gosh. Yeah, the amount of checks left on Monty's tracker is dwindling away. Or Roush has quite a few items left.
But lucky for Roush, the checks he needs are in the densest locations.
Yes.
Cyanwood is 3 checks, Whirl Islands is a whole bunch. I'm sure that's where he's going to go after this. Probably do the Ho-Oh Chamber and then go to Whirl Islands. And then when you leave Whirl Islands, you're right by Cyanwood as well.
So, a little small tidbit in case you don't know. You can actually bike on the top of Tin Tower as well as fly off there. It is not counted as indoors. It's actually counted as properly as outdoors, unlike the Celadon Mansion roof.
Okay, so there wasn't a badge in Tin. I think I recall there being one in the Ho-Oh Chamber, but Roushmore has flown straight to Orvine.
Oh no, he's going to the Whirl Islands this way. I would have thought he would have gone through Cyanwood, but you know, fine. I just don't like going this way. For the Dreaded Spinner, he was able to definitely avoid. Whew.
It's possible to get on the right-hand side of that spinner before he's on screen, so then you only have to pass him once.
Yeah, but you have to remember where it is, because you have to dodge that other swimmer facing left, who can see you as long as he's on screen.
Yes, several of the chambers contain badges and progression items, so... Mounty has now done Misty and is making his way towards Blue and Blaine.
Alright, so Roush is gonna find his expansion card and a badge here. Boulder badge, specifically. The mineral badge was on Chuck, so...
Okay, I misremembered that.
It was a similar
Well, Wingage, Whirl Islands is absolutely stacked.
Alright, so Monty is now on his way to Blaine.
We'll be hoping for that vanilla Volcano Badge.
Unfortunately, it is not to be. Although he does have a Flareon to show a fire type.
What kind of rando?
I don't think he normally has that. Although...
He has a Ho-Oh as well.
With Fire Blast, for that extra fiery power.
Also note, we never saw the Silver Wing at any point, so we're not going to be able to look at the Lugia here.
Correct.
All these races have certainly offered a lot of variety, haven't they? You just never know what's going to happen. And Roushmore is making his way to the Waterstone Chamber now. The only reason you would fight him is earlier.
You mean Ho-Oh Chamber. He's already checked the Waterstone Chamber.
Yes, the Ho-Oh Chamber. Still not fighting Chuck, but I'm sure he will eventually.
I don't think Ho-Oh Chamber had anything. Because I think Monty did those together.
Nostalgic, the Volcano Badge is in the dojo in Saffron City, which unfortunately Mounty did not check and has marked as checked on his tracker. So unless Mounty realizes that he forgot that check and goes back there, he's going to look everywhere else, and then he's not going to know where the Volcano Badge is.
So we're hoping, for Monty's sake, that he does not find the mystery. That he at least does not find the card key. The very least, does not find the card key anywhere.
Yes, if he finds the card key, he will do the whole of Rocket Tower and then the whole of Dragon's Den. Okay, well in this case I don't know where the Marsh Badge is.
Well, we'll find it out. It'll be around somewhere. So yeah, so Monte has at least brought this Machoke up to a respectable, to a Machamp with a respectable level for the inevitable red fight. Should he find the Volcano Badge? Should he remember where to find the Volcano Badge? But in the meanwhile, Roush is going to be checking West Kanto, and unfortunately, that's very barren.
Yeah, Mounty just went straight past the dojo without checking it for whatever reason.
Yes, he did, and he marked it off as done. So Roush is not even
the Machoke.
Well, I mean, his Zapdos is level 44, so and he still has lots of rare candies. In fact, I don't think he's used a single rare candy.
Road. So Roushmore will find something in West Kanto, actually.
Yes. Actually, so that's true. So this isn't totally a waste of time. Most likely going to be checking that. Alright. What's left for Monty? Is it just... Did he do Brock already too? Yeah, it looks like...
So...
Yeah, I think he's
fighting Brock now.
Yeah, so... Monty's gonna do... Monty's blue... And... Then... He's got just the 4 lock checks after this. And so keep in mind, Monty still has a chance of doing stuff. Oh, yes, radio tower as well. That's the other square that's left in his check.
The card key might be in Mount Silver. If it's on one of the Elite 4 checks, Mounty is in for a world of pain.
We're hoping neither of our players find it, honestly, but especially Mountebank, because this would be very, very unfortunate. I think Roush is just going to go with the most efficient checks at this point. I don't think he wants to do E4 with a level 44 Zapdos. It's a little bit lower level than you'd like to do for that.
Yes, even once Mounty knows categorically that he missed something, it's still a massive job to figure out where and what.
Oh yeah. This is going to be quite a Herculean task for Mountebank, but in the meantime, Roush is going to be continuing on and hopefully getting those other checks done too. Alright, blue's nothing. No key items in rather. The less less checks for key items,
Okay,
the better.
Roush is heading to Victory Road, Mounty's heading to Elite Four.
Yes. So they're gonna be entering the same location, just with different purposes. Oh, there's Aeroblast TM. Huh. Good for Red. Roush doing a little cheeky trick to, when he escape ropes out of the Victory Road, he'll be getting out the south gate. I like
that's
that.
what that was.
Mm-hmm. He is gonna try to pick up that Max Elixir. Gonna be useful for the end there. Doesn't need that amulet coin. Waste of space.
Amulet coin is great if you pick it up super early, but otherwise it's useless.
There's the Marsh badge. So we now know. So yes, this was a good memory. So we now know he's just chuck away from being done.
And luckily for him, Cyanwood Gym is 3 checks instead of 2, which makes it much higher priority than most of the others.
Yeah, but he will probably be still checking this check as well as the Solar Beam TM as well.
Yes, since he is here, that will definitely be what he has, what he does. Hopefully he goes to Cyanwood next.
Mountebank doing some shopping for full restores. 21 full restore, or 24, no, it was 21 full restores. And that's it for the money.
The one issue for Roush is his Zapdos is still quite low leveled for the red fight, so he might have some difficulty actually getting through it depending on what red has.
Honestly, because he's got a handful of rare candies, a level 49, 50 Zapdos is about normally what you would get if you're running it from the very start. So I think that's totally fine. That's very much doable. It's not like low 50s is a little bit more tight when you're running non-legendaries, but since the legendaries have that extra bulk, it should be fine. Alright, so flying away. And he's heading towards Cyanwood. Oh, it looks like, this is gonna be, paying off for him in the long run. Yeah, no, this is gonna be it from this is gonna be a real good timer. It's just no more distractions for Roush. Just get it done. 45 Zapdos is a little bit low, but hopefully he'll learn something maybe like T-Bolt. He may opt to probably move to leader that waterfall as well. So, and I definitely would move to leader the waterfall for Red.
To think that Mounty could have been in go mode 40 minutes ago is very unfortunate.
I mean, it's just kind of... Well, it is unfortunate, things happen, and, it happens to everyone, so... It definitely does feel bad from his point of view, though. On the other hand, though, I am glad that, this is still aiming towards a sub-3 seed. So that's always good as well, but, things happen.
Volcano Badge is in the dojo in Saffron City. Mounty forgot to look there.
Yeah, and he's totally cleared that area on his tracker as well, so... and right now he's stuck doing the E4, so even if he were to have a miraculous memory or be to check it, he's still midway in. Yes, ERC, there have been quite a few races, more than I was hoping for, that have been decided over a forgotten check.
The other question is, will Mountebank find the radio card by doing Elite 4 or not?
The what?
The card key.
Okay. I'm hoping not, but you never know.
I mean, for Mounty's sake, you definitely don't want that to happen.
Honestly, I don't know if he would finish it out after the after knowing there's. I mean, he might finish it out, but depends on how it is.
So Roushmore is in go mode.
Yes. I guess gonna keep Waterfall on the Zapdos. I wonder if he's gonna opt to teach Aeroblast though. Although he does have the PP ups, I believe, still to be able to use that still. Because of course Aeroblast is definitely stronger than Trollpeck. It is less accurate, but I assume you're gonna be setting up an X accuracy on Red anyways. It is well, we call it the dojo, it is indeed the fighting gym. Not to be confused with, you know, Chuck's gym.
So Roushmore entering Route 28 just as Mounty starts the fight with Nance.
Dun, 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 dun. He is very underleveled though, because he still hasn't given the rare candies, so he's very likely to get various encounters in Mount Silver, as they are higher level. I mean, you can super repel really lower levels, but I guess not getting. Well, it's good that he's not getting any encounters here. Oh, I say, and then of course, commentator curse. Oh, let's do it! Let's do it! Dragonair trade for the end. No, there's no way he's doing no. It would be Dragonite though.
His Zapdos is very close to leveling up. It's almost as if he wants to get that level organically and then use the rare candies.
Okay, level 50 Wigglytuff. Wonder if he's gonna. Nope, not even gonna try to catch it at all. Does he have rare? Okay, he's saving here.
He definitely has rare candies.
Okay, 5 rare candies. Oh yeah, level 50 Zapdos. That'll be fine. That'll be fine. Saving.
If only Roushmore knew how far ahead he is right now, he would.
Oh, cross drop is interesting. Oh, changing it over Drill Pack. Okay. I don't know if I would do specifically that, but cross chop is pretty strong. Oh. Okay, well, hold on. He still has Psychic, so he could still set up that.
Mounty has completed the Elite Four.
Yeah. That is
and
indeed
Red
correct.
has a Venusaur. What kind of rando?
Well, it's not usually level 81, but indeed.
And it just seems to be using Swift, which means he should be able to set up on this quite easily.
Yeah. I imagine he's also going to use that X accuracy right there. Oh, after. Okay, so.
Oh, it has Poison Gas.
That's not really a threat.
It's Stab though.
But doesn't do damage.
That was the joke. Mounty gets a full restore.
Setting up the X speeds. Alright, doesn't give any card key. And I'm hoping. Oh, he's fully setting up the +6 on both. I can respect that. Or at least getting some X attacks in.
It's the card key.
Oh no! That's the card key! Oh no! Oh no! I don't think there's any chance Mountebank is gonna remember now. That's like the worst spot to find it. Either way, though, good. Roush is taking down Red with relative ease. Rather unfortunate that the Zoomer uses Amnesia, but luckily it's still a 2-shot. Wait, 2 Azumarill?
2 Azumarill.
Ugh. Alright. And a Ho-Oh to finish it off. Alright.
Battle of the Birds.
It lived on 1, but luckily no problem. And Roush is done. GG to Roush. And he finishes at 245. No, 246. Exactly. GG. And yeah, Monty has forfeited. So we'll get both of our runners in. GG. Congratulations, Roush, on winning. Unfortunately, Mountebank, that last card key item definitely set you astray there.
Mounty, would you like to know what happened?
It was false director.
No, you never looked inside the dojo.
Oh my god.
No. Was
Yeah,
that
so
really?
you had 15 badges, all 3 Pokegear parts at the 2-hour mark, but it was just painful. Yeah, I hope I'm sorry to take away a little bit of the crowning moment though, but
My
but
god.
either way though, Roush, you did play well.
I didn't feel like I did.
I mean, I suppose you did get your revenge on the soft sand girls though.
Fuck artillery, man. I'm sorry. I am so sorry, Speaky. Dude, I completely forgot that. Oh man, that's not what I wanted to do at all.
No. I'm sorry.
That
But yes, we've,
the return
we've
of
just...
the return of Mewtwo. The return of Mewtwo. So the last race that I had with Baby K, the literal stopgap to our run was Blue had a Mewtwo, and I got Mewtwo flashback on Janine. And I didn't like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have spent the last 45 minutes discussing if Mounty is going to realise that he forgot the dojo and go back there. And we were really hoping that you just wouldn't find the card key and would
Yeah.
realise then that you'd made a mistake, but you found the card key as well, and we're like, oh no. But the thing is that by the time you were fighting Lance, Roushmore
it was too late
already
by then,
it was already on Mount Silver. But yeah, you could have been in go mode in under 2 hours, and just very, very unlucky.
Yeah, it happens. It's randomizer for you.
Yeah. I know this probably didn't feel great for you, Roush, but I mean, you guys took really different routes through here. But at least the Zapdos was a pretty good starter. Although I know
No,
you
it
guys
wasn't. No, it wasn't. I hate legendary. I hate running legendaries in these things, especially in the early game because of that EXP curve. You just never get enough levels. I was worried the entire time that I was going to get the champion, and exactly what had happened. I wouldn't even get to level 50.
Yeah.
That's
I guess
what
it got
Yeah, it was actually such a generous seed. Like so many of the fights weren't required at all. You could have been at a very low level coming into that fight.
Worst case is you have a level 54 Machamp, and you've got the lovely Kiss TM, so
Well,
it's
see,
pretty
I
free.
almost grabbed that Dragonair on the way in. I almost grabbed that Dragonair.
Yeah, there
I
was
was
a
wondering if you
Dragonair
would
in
trade
Mount
it.
Silver.
I was half wondering if you
Where
would
was-
trade it or if you would evolve it.
Where was the silver
Oh,
wing?
I would.
No
We didn't
idea.
find it, so it must be either Mount Silver or elsewhere.
Did like Erica have the card key, or where was card key?
No.
No,
card key is wrong.
Erica. No, the card key was on the Rainbow Wing check post Elite Four. Mounty actually did the Elite Four.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Oh, and there's the
Um,
mystery egg.
Wow, you had enough time to do. Man.
I did vanilla basement.
Oh.
Like, E4 was literally the last thing left except false director.
I don't
Oh,
feel
well.
so good. If that's the case, I feel terrible.
It's certainly.
I got stone locked on so many fights, and I got fixated on that artillery.
Hmm.
You certainly benefited Roushmore from some good fortune, but you played very well. Like 246 is a good finishing time.
I mean, you did most of the
your
checks.
Zapdos was
so-
very solid.
Not really. I have a lot of. Well, I mean, what I have on the board is longer checks. Erica, Route 2 or 4. I know my routes. Elite 4, False Director.
I mean, that's still a lot done. I mean, luckily there wasn't any more of the card key checks for.
Yeah, where was card key? Oh,
Rainbow
sorry,
Wing
you
was
said
on
Rainbow
Rainbow
Wing.
Wing.
Old man
Yeah, so-
Rainbow Wing. That's
Yeah,
right.
so that prevented you. So you did go dip in the basement early, which,
I mean, it didn't do
prove
anything.
fruitful, but it
It
didn't
did
hurt you
nothing.
at the end as well either. So
No. Well, no, it kind of helped. Like, every little bit of EXP helped.
yeah,
Well, what level were you, Mount?
On the Machamp, I'm level 66 because I did every fight. Zapdos was
Ah.
39 when I ditched it.
Where'd you get the Machoke then?
was
So
Oh,
Snorlax.
no,
That
no,
was the
Snorlax. That's
Snorlax.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm surprised you
I-
didn't switch to it.
Well, see, that's the beauty of it all. I had no reason to at that point.
What level was your Zapdos?
it was
43?
45.
Oh,
Well, wasn't it like 45 entering all that stuff though?
No,
something
because
like that?
I did Brock.
All
I
right.
did Brock and Shock, actually. Before.
Yeah, it was 45 entering Mount Silver, but it was a little
Yeah, it
lower
was
when
40.
After the
It was
candies,
43 entering there, but I mean, the fight ended up being a breeze with just Psychic and Surf. I mean, I might have considered switching to the Machoke, but I also had no TMs to work with because I had
Yeah.
used my Drill Peck, and I mean, Aeroblast would have been fine, but given the checks that I had left, I still felt it necessary to have power points. And when it didn't really show me any move off the top, I just found it fine to kill it.
Yeah, no, you got through definitely pretty easy with the red. I mean,
Yeah, red
level
setup
50
was
with the
easy.
legendaries, a comfortable spot to be in. It's not fun, but it's more comfortable than a non-legendary at that point.
Well, it also helped. So the Mountie, in case you didn't get to see it, it was a Venusaur lead with Swift, Confused Ray, Poison. Was it Poison Powder?
yeah, it was poison
Yeah,
gas.
poison
Oh.
gas.
Poison
Poison
gas.
gas.
And I
That's
don't know what the
pretty
last
free.
move was. Yeah, it was really
it's
free.
gonna waste so many turns on just
Exactly.
more
So I
resource.
just kept setting up, and I tried to make sure that I was out of crit Swift range. So if you were wondering why I healed so many times, that was the reason. I was.
No,
I mean,
we get it. You were playing it safe. You
definitely-
didn't know
I mean,
that
the
you
worst-
had such
we've
a huge
seen-
lead.
We've seen so many races also decided on red, for not playing it safe or whatever. So definitely we applaud you for playing it safe there.
I'm actually impressed with these Zapdos TVs. I thought they would be a lot worse. I don't know.
No, well, the thing is that you were lower level, so it's hard to one-shot things. So I
Well,
think that kind
no,
of skews the
but-
perspective.
Not really. It wasn't that at all. I was using waterfall, waterfall and wing attack. Like those aren't exactly powerful
Yeah.
moves, but I just don't know my DV table.
I mean, I honestly don't know for most of them either, so.
You get a feel for it, sort of.
I haven't yet. I kind of feel bad in that regard. And I mean, nothing to say that I don't. I'm not the better player.
It's fine.
Oh, this
We-
That's
you
the
know,
joy of random.
We
You
could
don't
race.
have
We
to
could
be the
race
better
another
player.
15 times, and you would probably win 14 or 15 of them.
you
So
know, but that
I mean, it's randos. I know,
Yeah, like,
but there's a part of
that's just
me
part
that
of it.
that
Don't worry
feels
about it.
really bad that that's how it happened. Because,
If I didn't get knocked out here, I might have gotten knocked out anywhere. Like,
well, yeah, but you might
it's
have
not-
won. Like, we're never gonna
it doesn't
know.
matter.
We're never gonna know.
What could have
But
happened?
It's
It doesn't
what
matter.
happened that I just wish that
and well, in the end, you were
that
the
it's
better
from a
player in this
mischeck.
race.
It was for a mischeck. That's.
I
kind of-
mean, it
which one
happens
was
to
it?
everyone.
I know. Which
So-
badge was that one? Was that one?
That was the Volcano Badge.
Oh, that one was Volcano. That's right. I was like, it was Volcano, Thunder, Plane Badge was also in Saffron. That was so weird.
Well, I think Thunder Badge was
Yes.
actually Rocket
All
Hideout.
3 of the free Saffron checks were badges.
Yes, all 3 of them were, because, yeah, it was the plane badge, and then I
Yeah,
am glad, though,
Psychic
you
Guy
were able
and-
to figure the Storm Badge location out, because that was one of the more obscure and rare spots for it to be in.
Oh, I was like, I'm gonna save, I'm going to check it, and I'm going to leave. And it was actually ironic. I didn't have Flash at the time, but I was almost debating just going straight back through Rock Tunnel and picking up that. But I still needed levels on the Zapdos, so I went ahead and did the Misty segment, even though I know. Actually, I do have a question. Can machine part, vanilla machine part, can that be fly?
No,
The wording
the
is
vanilla machine part itself
entering.
not. So,
But
if you
that cannon can. Clearly.
yes,
That's so
that
weird.
was the expansion car. It is. It was something I was hoping to do it, but we weren't trying to. We were trying to sort of minimize some of the checks, and I think it was talked about, but then in the terms of trying to minimize checks, we didn't kind of really think about it as much, or
Yeah.
wasn't really brought up to discussion.
And
because...
I don't mean to. That's a discussion for another time. But thank you guys for narrating, for commentating this race. Monty, thank you for your time. I'd love to go back and watch this to see ways that I can improve.
The commentators must have
got
been
a
like
long
so
way to go.
frustrated watching me go to all these places.
I can't imagine.
I mean, it
mean-
made our jobs easier. We knew that you were wasting your time, so we just watched Roushmore.
I was keeping my eye out for the.
Whoa, that's no better.
Well, I was keeping my eye out for and praying that you wouldn't find that card key at all. And I mean, luckily you didn't find it until the very end, but unfortunately you did find it.
There was a race earlier in this tournament where someone missed a key item that was actually in one of the hidden chambers because their repel ran out on the same tile as they were supposed to encounter.
No.
Check it. So
Yeah, that was
they,
that was the
That was in the
flash
group
chamber. Yeah, we had our
But-
race yesterday as well decided by someone picking up a red scale but not marking it as well.
What's
things-
interesting is that person didn't know when it took them ages to work out that they had missed a key item, and then they had to go back and check everywhere to find it, and they did manage to find it again, even though you would never think that you managed to forget an item in a hidden chamber.
That's impressive.
But given enough time, he just went over everything, and he did eventually find it. Of course, by then it was too late to get back into the race, but I was hoping we would see Mountebank actually work out where that Volcano Badge was. But you didn't. You kept getting other things, and then you found the card key, and
So were you
Yeah.
using a? Do you use a tracker, Mounty?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Yeah, no,
just
that's why
that-
we knew he had forgotten it
Was
because
it
he
just
had.
a mismark then?
Yeah, I just assumed that when I don't enter Saffron using the pass for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
then things get weird, and I just like try to remember what I did, and I misremembered it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we knew that it
that's
was totally
fair.
forgotten.
That's
But
fair.
because when you picked up the lost item and then did Sabrina, after that you had completely cleared it. So
That's funny because I was actually trying to use Kanto to get to where the heck was Secret Potion? Secret Potion was like right before
that was
ANT.
in actually
Rocket
that was
Underground.
Rocket Underground.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Mounty had the
you had.
benefit
Oh,
of
yeah.
doing Rocket Underground before Lighthouse, so Mounty was
Yeah.
able to do that all in
So I had
one
more
trip, and
checks.
you
I had
to
more
make
checks going through. Oh yeah, actually no, that was the Octillery fixation again. That was when I
Yeah.
finally finished off the bugger.
Yeah, no, it took you 3 times. I was a
Was
little
it 3
bit.
or was it 4?
Actually, I mean, it was technically 4, but you went back for it a third time. It was leaving an entry 3 times.
Okay,
No, I
it's-
was actually more surprised you did fight them because that's something I have done, and I have learned to stop doing that at low levels. Level 20 is not high enough to fight them. There is just so
26.
many things that can go wrong, and
Yeah,
it's
but
just,
I mean, lack of coverage was a huge thing. What was your moveset when you finished? Strength, I assume either Aeroblast or Drill Peck.
Well, you want the Machamp or the Zapdos?
No, the Machamp, please. I want to hear this.
Oh, Machamp would be Strength, Aeroblast, Submission, and Hyper Beam. Hyper Beam
Oh.
will be getting replaced with Lovely Kiss.
oh, I was wondering
For red.
if you were gonna use Bone Rush there as well. But yeah, Level Kiss. You also had Hypnosis.
Yeah,
I don't know which
you
one
would
of
have
those is
been-
more accurate.
You actually
Or
would have been
Hypnosis,
worse for
yeah,
that
that's
fight
what it
than
was.
I was. You would have been worse for that fight than I was. It was double Azu and Ho-Oh.
They
the
die.
Zingworlds
They
had.
die.
Well,
When I have
Zingworld
this many
had
levels,
also
they'll die.
Amnesia too. But yeah,
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you know, I mean, it's
Cross Chop.
actually, you probably would have gotten enough, and you were in the 60s, so yeah, I guess.
Well, I would have been like 54 if I had done that check, because I would have pretty much just taken the Machoke straight there after catching
Yeah.
it.
Still don't know what that last move on the Venusaur was.
I mean, we could
I don't know
definitely
if
check
we
that,
saw
but I
it.
don't think it
Yeah.
was really.
It probably
I-
wouldn't have. It probably wouldn't have
Who
mattered.
knows?
I mean, the fact that it wasn't using it means that it wasn't anything useful against you.
I mean, it could have
It
been.
might have had a ground type move. It wouldn't have used that against a
Yeah.
Zapdos.
It could have been a flying type move as well.
Yeah, I
which
was gonna
would have
say
been
it
bad
might have
for
been like
Machamp.
Gust.
I
Is
mean,
that a
we
thing?
could always figure out
Yeah.
if I talk to the bot
Alright.
about that.
The bot.
Oh, who knows?
I mean,
Yeah.
who knows? Either way, congratulations again, and for moving along. My condolences, Monty, that this had to be the way to go out on a missed check.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but good luck in your next match.
Thank you.
So
Okay,
please
well, with
definitely
that,
give
I
both
think-
of our runners a follow, and a good follow to my co-commentator Kilda as well. And if you're feeling up to it, you can give me a follow too.
And yes, and thank you to everyone for watching. We have a bunch more matches coming up. Snowbear, you can probably give the
Yes.
upcoming matches. There's one in about a day from now.
Yes.
About this time tomorrow.
Yes. Tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. we have Dirtswall 6870 versus Mr. Holmes. And then on Saturday, so that's at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. And then on Saturday we have 3 matches. We have Sasas versus Tomcat at 11 a.m. We have Ergote versus Diego Armando at 3 p.m. And then we have Zan 9BR versus Wingage at 4:30 p.m. And then our last scheduled match at the moment is Rag and Trag versus Oddley on Sunday, or that is on Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So please stick around as we're getting to this. This is of course a round of 16 match. So then we have all the rest of those round of 16 matches there. And then as we get the results from those matches, we'll start doing the round of 8. And then the round of 4 will be will be best of 3s. So from then on, we'll be scheduling multiple matches, in a row. So please stay tuned. Our tournament is starting to come to a wrap now. We've got, I think this is more than half of the matches now done. Way more than half of them. So thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. I think that's all that I've got.
Yeah, congrats to both the runners. It was a very entertaining race, and thank you as always to SpeedGaming for hosting the tournament, allowing us to commentate. And yeah, I think that's pretty much everything.
All right, thank you very much, and make sure, of course, if you're interested, check out the Discord. Even after this, this tournament's done, there's always more things going on. So we'll see you around tomorrow's match, and take care. Bye bye.